You are watching Radio VTV.
I am Andre Preston.
I am Jambi Borns.
I'm DJ Don.
You are watching Radio VTV. Music,
Tonight's Radio V is going to be a little bit different than before, and it's special because what Andre created is special. It's science, art, music, and charity rolled into one, and it's done in a form of funk. And funk, we need more funk right now.
On a hot summer night, late August, They stopped along a cliffside 300 feet above the Pacific Ocean on a clear moonless night. He pulled her close and sang to her.
Oh, destiny, come show me the future you can see. Oh, destiny, come take me and set me free. Oh, destiny, don't let me walk away from one destiny. Oh, destiny, come take me and set me free. That's my lyrics to the universe.
Those were Willis's next words. I can't describe what happened next, but it made Willis drunk, and the rest is history. Now there's a story to be told. Welcome to the universe. sitting on the ground. She looked like she had seen a ghost. And she asked Willis if he was really himself. Duh, snapped Willis. Of course it's me. What happened? Did I say anything? Ooh, you should have seen your face, Felicity answered. You spoke some weird language. Definitely not of this earth. I'm scared, Willis. Let's get out of here. Willis stood up and dusted himself off. Yeah, let's go. I'm good to drive. As they drove away, Felicity spoke of a hovering presence, still lurking above them. Willis talked about his encounter and told her not to worry. Things will be all right. Felicity told Willis, even though you're an alien, I still trust you. got together with his sweetheart, Axer, to take a magic carpet ride to the edge of the famous cliffside. Axer is the granddaughter of legendary Trinitarian astronomer Caleb London, who made an earth-shattering discovery. As the two young lovebirds settled in to watch the sunset, four moons slowly formed a diamond shape around a bright red star. The two lovers magnetized into a kiss, and seconds later the planet was pounded by comet fragments. Earth and Astrid were both partially buried in rubble, but both survived and were rescued. Astrid fell into a coma. Erna visited her every day in the hospital, singing to his sleeping companion Faithful that she would one day awaken. Axer did just that, suddenly, and shouted the words, "It's coming!"
the news.
An unarmed black man was shot and killed by a white police officer.
Police officer gunned down behind a tree early this morning, following a performance outside an upscale Atlanta nightclub. Suspects have been identified yet, but a late model burgundy Cadillac Escalade is clear to see. Rang out. Bernardino, California, 10:30 last night.
Did you ever get the feeling that something wasn't right? Come on, newscaster, get back up here. The latest news is everyone is dropping like flies. A plane crash here, an earthquake over there. The next thing you know, there'll be ashes in my head. Remember, think of me, got. But what do you say? That's all on the side. It's 11:59, and we're running out of time. It's 11:59, and we're running. Just in case you happen to see me wearing white, don't you feel on my friend? I only want to see the light. Don't you know? Don't you know? It's not like there's a problem or something's gone right. It's all been written down long ago. So baby, don't cry. Just because your credit card won't be a damn thing. It don't mean that you have to weep. Instead, you understand that you are. Oh, it's 11:59, and we're running out of time. It's 11:59, and we're running out of time. It's 11:59. We're running out of time. It's 11:59, and we're running.
London 59 on the Richter scale has virtually split the state of California. Hundreds of unstable islands in the Pacific Ocean.
As the rainfall is projected to go to an outlook in this position, trees are approximately 68 years high. Now, northern light temperatures can be 50 degrees. There are also reports of strange lights moving up the trees. At the eastern edge of the quarter, the United States is wide enough to be used. Approximately 21% of the black population have been seemingly in some cases intervening. This unusual turn of events reflect many people turning their eyes in the skies, looking perhaps for signs of a possible rapture. The American dollar is now obsolete. The new skip and credit system will go into effect at 6 a.m. on the 6th of June. You must apply for your mandatory
Truckers nationwide have gone on strike. was the tragic destruction of planet Earth by a meteor impact, thus signaling the end of Act 1 of the Universal Funk Opera. Oh, but don't panic, for in the acts to follow, believe it or not, the story of Willis Osiris continues. Remember, the end is the beginning is the middle, and so on in this timeless tale. So stay tuned for a brief trip through time, featuring music from Acts 1 and 2 of the Universal Funk Opera. The next cut comes from Act 2, Pink and Blue, Dreams in a Cryptic Form, poems that open to the door of a new heaven and earth. Y'all ready for the after party? Once again, my friends, welcome to the universe. Beneath my feet, something cool and sweet to drink, and lots of tasty things to eat. We're having so much fun.
Thought that I learned colors wrong, but as I grew older, that's when the doctor confirmed that I was colorblind. So today, we're opening up these glasses that my dad bought for me for my birthday. They're made by a company called Enchroma. Such a difference.
They worked!
Calling to make plans for a road trip. Willis and Felicity Sweet take off on a camping trip down Highway 1 in the middle of the summer. And that night, they post up on the cliffside, hey, I'm talking, high above the Pacific
Atlantic Ocean and gaze out into the starry night, Willis starts to sing a prayer to the universe while holding Felicity close. Felicity spots a UFO and freaks out for a minute while Willis begins to fall into a strange trance-like state. Felicity notices that Willis ain't right, so she tries to help him, but all he can do is mumble something out of this world language. His face changes, his eyes go dark and large. He slumps to the ground where Felicity prays for help. Willis comes back and asks, "What happened?" Felicity tells him what she saw, and he tells her what he experienced, and that's lots of information, and hearing billions of voices and languages going through him. Oh, they drive back to camp and call it a night. A week later, Felicity moves away from California. Meanwhile, on Jupiter, an astronomer named Kalalani discovered a giant meteor back in 1947 that was headed for the Earth, due to strike around the end of 1999. Her government assembled a team to go to Earth and warn the planet and to offer a planetary evacuation to Mars to save humanity. Their ship crashed into the desert, New Mexico, and injured survivors crawled out of the burning ship. Men from the government came upon the scene, and the aliens were ready to bring the news. But no! The humans got all scared and paranoid and had to go shooting the messengers, and so they never got the message. Woo! Back to July 1994. Are you still with me? Yeah! All right. I know, it's a lot, and it is deep and mostly true, so bear with me. We're almost there. Woo! Okay. In 1994, Jupiter, Kalalani's granddaughter, Axer, and her magical friend, Erna, got together to hop on a magic carpet ride to their favorite cliffside spot to watch the moon line up around the bright star Betelgeuse. As the moons lined up, the two began to melt into a magnetic cosmic kiss. Seconds later, the planet was rocked by 9 cosmic fragments, and the two lovebirds were partially buried in the rubble and barely clinging to life. After their rescue, they were taken to the best medical center on Ganymede, where Axter lie in a coma. Erna recovered quickly and was released. Meanwhile, on Earth, onlookers from the Dorknut Space Center cheered and celebrated the viewing of the comet impacting Jupiter, not realizing that there was life there. Fast forward 5 years. 1999, New Year's Eve, the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, global blackout! The entire Earth goes dark. Everything electric stops working. No one on Earth knew why. On Jupiter, many were highly disappointed that the meteor that Kalalani discovered had just passed the Earth without impact. However, a few undisclosed years after that, on the 6th day of the 6th month, in the year ending in 6, Axer awoke from a coma, shouting the words, "It's coming!" Strange things began to happen on Earth. 6 massive hurricanes raced westward across the Atlantic Ocean, flooding the eastern seaboard. Antarctica recorded a high temperature of 116 degrees Fahrenheit. Tropical forests sprang to life as the ice melted, and the bell tolled noon. Somewhere, a massive earthquake swarm erupted along the Pacific Rim, crumbling most of California, Japan, Indonesia, and other lands on the map. A mass UFO sighting took place over Los Angeles, Brazil, and the Egyptian desert. Then suddenly, the Earth was struck blindly by a fragment of Kalalani's meteor and completely destroyed upon impact. On Jupiter, there were cheers. Yeah, I know, it's heavy, right? And as you just saw, Willis Osiris is a special mother. Woo, you better shut your mouth. Turning into a 3-eyed alien and rescuing folks from across the galaxy. Whoa, but this story ain't over yet. No, this is just the beginning, or the middle, or something. Welcome to the universe.
Osiris. You have been brought to the Teriax Adamala system. We are the Teriaxian race. Our system consists of 22 planets, 11 of which are ring planets in a synchronous orbit. Our eclipsing binary star system. Long ago, before our race was born, there was a race of super intelligent beings, the nerds. Anyway, they planted a tower on our first planet, Umi, that reached 12 miles into the sky. The tower was planted exactly at the planet's axis and was named Destiny. So Destiny was tuned perfectly to our sun's vibrational force by the ancient nerds who left it here. At the top of the tower there is a crystal blue sphere about 400 yards in diameter. The sphere is connected to a conduit which goes all the way to the inside of the tower, to the core of the planet. The sphere gathers energy from the suns and absorbs the pulse of the core. That creates a harmonic balance between the planets and the suns. This force affects every ringed planet in the system, because the rings around each planet produce the most perfect harmonics and form a gravitational lock between Umi and all the other ringed planets. Umi is the first planet of our mating planet, where we leave our spawns to gestate and grow. We are there during the seasons that it is known as the Golden Fork. This during the time when our white star Teriax is in the forefront, when the blue star Automala eclipses Teriax, the temperature rises, and we migrate outward to the outer planets. Our spawns are continuing to grow and mature. When Automala has completely eclipsed Teriax, we rendezvous on the outer ring of the planets for this Baptismal Festival.
Everybody's coming out to and you're here. 1962, Willis, Osiris. A battle-damaged fortress came crashing through a portal and landed on Ubi. It slid for 70 miles before coming to a dusty, smoky halt before our tower. Our tower's harmonic integrity was compromised. Military accidents died, the mating grounds all dried out. All 22 planets in our system fell out of orbit. And only the strongest, most fit, were able to survive. This is the funk of ages. You know, I have a lot of funky heroes of my own, and one of them comes from Minneapolis. He's kind of purple, you know what I mean? We got a few bands over here, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm from the Midwest myself, for those who didn't know. Chicago, Illinois. I'm a drummer boy from Illinois. You're right. Sing it. Come on. We'll make a little switch. Don't go away. We'll be right back. I think I'm gonna pick up my guitar. Y'all mind if I play a little bit? I ain't nothing special, but this is just a little love song.